Well, that didn't work out. I was looking for my theme music, but it was not playing. Looks like I'm having some technical difficulties here, guys. Maybe it's Facebook trying to tell me something. Well, we'll go ahead and go get on it with it without the regardless. Well, Patriots, mount up. Hello, Salty Dogs. Welcome to the Salty Sailor Nation Live. I'm your honored but humble host, the Salty Sailor, talking to you live from my bunker in sunny AZ. It is now March 11th, 2021, 7 o'clock on the dot of a new patriotic republic. First off, for those first timers that have joined, ex military, first time live broadcaster, that is intense with common sense, fighting for the right to be free, promoting a conservative viewpoint while trying to understand the tyrannical left. Hooyah! All my articles are sourced and research on my own, and after reading them, the show is based on my opinion and my opinion only. For all those geeky fact checkers out there in social media land, this is for you. Here we go. Wanted to also just say really quickly, I took a little hiatus. Agent 99 made me come back to reality a little bit. I needed a mental break. I'm sure you all would agree that every now and then you kind of need to get away for a minute and have a little mental break, especially with all the stuff that's going on, specifically, obviously, not good, as we've seen in the news. And you kind of realize, like, wow, people actually voted for this guy. So that's part of it. And, again, when everything, I just need to take a mental break, to be honest with you. But I'm glad to be back and pioneering through and wanted to give you guys all a shout out for listening, which it's not working. So apparently the show must go on. Moving on. Episode 22. Here we go. Breaking 6 European. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Breaking 6 European countries are putting a stop on the AstraZeneca CCP virus or the China virus vaccine because it's starting to cause massive blood clotting visible on the skin surface. Not only is it on the skin surface, but it's also causing blood clots in the body. Again, I'm not going to take it. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not initiating that no one else should take it. But they're having a lot of problems with these vaccines, including, and it's in Europe as well, that 6 countries, I think, have stopped doing it right now to kind of reassess the situation. There's been a couple of people that have died from it, and this is the AstraZeneca CCP virus, but it's also vaccine, but it's also the other ones out there too. I think there's 3 right now, potentially a 4th on its way. I'm not advocating for no one not to take it. I would just say be very, very careful if you could. What I don't agree with and what I don't appreciate, and obviously it hasn't changed much, is the fact that they're sitting there telling you that, oh, if you want to go to another country, you have to be injected with it. I mean, at what point, I mean, why do I need the government to tell me what to do, considering the flu virus that killed more people than the coronavirus? Let's just be real. They have a flu vaccine they do every year, and it never cures the freaking flu. So why the hell do I want to inject something in my own body that's got a 95% rate of being able to be adaptable to it when my own immune system has 99%? And to make matters even on top of that, I already had it. So again, I guess I'm the weird one. I have no idea. But I will tell you that, again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not advocating you not to take it. If you want to take it, feel comfortable doing so. But I would tell you that I would do a lot of major research before you put something like that in your body. Just saying, hopefully you take my advice, but if not, power to you. Anyway, moving on. Attention, Texas Attorney General threatens Austin mayor with lawsuit for not complying with the governor's orders to lift the mask mandate. Like I said, or it says this week that liberal cities do not comply, then the governors of these red states, now there's more red states than blue states, would force them to comply by lawsuits against the city first, and then the business owner second. So here's the thing. Not only is it the governor's mandated order, which this little pitsy mayor in Austin, liberal, is not complying with, but it's also now the state's AG that is telling this little mayor, like, okay, dude, enough, move on. The governor's mandated it, it's on. So this little pincy dude is trying to say, oh, well, We're gonna just not comply. No, you have to. And then he tells them, we'll see you in court. Well, good luck with that, because again, it's the AG and the governor you're going against, and you're a pitsy little mayor. Guess who's not getting reelected? Just saying. Moving on, and I found this extremely funny, and most of maybe my moderate friends may not. But attention, attention, attention. Michelle Obama, or Obama, is slated to be inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame. Someone say she's not a woman, but that's for other stories. First and foremost, not a woman. Secondly, how dare the spotlight be one gender? This is the biggest hypocrisy of the Liberal Party. And I'm not even seeing a left. Let me clarify my statement in between the Liberal and, say, a moderate Democrat. I actually like a moderate Democrat, okay? They're actually legitimately can look at both sides of the coin and kind of make their own deductive reasoning and not be forced into something like the liberal left, or the tendency of the people that follow the liberal left. And the same thing on the Republican side. You have the conservatives, which is myself, and you have a hardcore Republican, right, which is a right wing. So you have full frontal left and you have right wing right here, right? These are the oddballs. These are like the outliers. Then you have the moderate and conservatives. And based on a lot of Biden's actions, I would assume a lot of moderates are starting to kind of whoa, and starting to look at it and maybe just kind of merge together into the conservative forum. And, some would say start an own party. I would not say so, but at least have an ideal. Stay away from the hypocrisy of the far liberal left. And this is one of them. Now, remember, not only is the liberal left pushing a lot of cancel culture, I mean, Mr. Potato Head, God forbid, which was the first transgender toy, by the way, but they don't seem to worry about that. Pepe Le Pew, who the hell cancels Pepe Le Pew? Like, how is that offensive? He was their first player. He was a skunk. I mean, if it's not the most worst example of a Mac Daddy or a player, it would be a skunk. They stink. So that's even stupider. And now they're trying to cancel. I forget who the hell else they're trying to cancel. Well, who aren't they trying to cancel, right? Here's the funny thing with that. Not only do they try to cancel all that, then this is the Liberal Party that wants to do everyone can play in the same sports. You can have females and males competing against each other because that makes sense. And we're going to pass laws. And we're going to let our children get scientifically enhanced so that way they can choose their gender before they're 3. Who does that? Well, on top of it, here's the best part of the hypocrisy. They're putting her into the Women's Hall of Fame. According to the left, right? There's supposed to be no gender. We're all supposed to be equal. We're all supposed to use the same bathroom and sing Kumbaya. So why is there a Women's Hall of Fame? Why are they putting Michelle Obama in the Hall of Fame? Is that not hypocrisy at its finest? Like, who thinks this stuff up? So we can't say her, him, mother, or father. Or should we say they and them? Or should we just go, we don't know. You'll see later in the show, I have a thing with a school board of a private school is trying to implement something that I find, hopefully you do too, I hope so, but find absolutely ridiculous. And this is part of it. So Michelle Obama is slated to be inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame when she's a transgender. Wow. Moving on. Let's see. Attention. Okay, here we go again. Dr. Fauci says the CDC doesn't always rely on just a science when making up their guidelines, that sometimes they have just to make a judgment call in order to update the restrictions. Have you ever had a nice pair of flip-flops? Okay? This guy flip-flops more than your old school Hispanic mom's chancla that got thrown at you. This guy doesn't know whether he's in or he's out, okay? He's been caught multiple times when the first COVID restrictions happened, way back last year, when all mask states were in effect. He was caught eating hot dog at a baseball game, and none of his people next to him were wearing a mask. They all had their masks pulled down. Then he comes out, I think this was 6 months ago, and says, everybody needs to wear 2 masks. 2 masks. Okay, fair enough. So you wear 2 masks. Then he says, once you get a shot and you get vaccinated, then you don't have to wear a shot anymore. Or you don't have to wear a mask anymore. You're free at last. You're free at last, right? Now he says, or this was probably, what, a month ago, he says that even if you get a shot, you still have to wear masks. What the hell is the point of the shot then? If the shot was supposed to be the cure-all after multiple cycles of taking it, why do I have to wear a mask? The guy doesn't know what he's doing. If anything, he's also getting investigated, by the way, guys. The reason why he is because, first of all, he's taking kickbacks with some of these drug companies. In fact, I would say 15 to 20 years ago, I don't know the exact date, he was investigated before because he was also in on the AIDS vaccine. This guy is the highest paid consultant to the government that the government has. The highest paid. And he doesn't even get it right half the time. Why are we listening to this fool? Why don't we talk to the regular doctors that actually treat patients on a regular basis and not someone that's got ties into a lot of the vaccines and a lot of the drugs where he gets kickbacks? It's common sense. Moving on. Democrats include a $3.5 billion in massive COVID bill for the global fund for fighting AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Okay, I'll just start with that without even adding the extra part to this. So, the COVID bill that not only we're paying taxes on, which, okay, I'll get into that in a second, but we're going to pay taxes on this COVID bill they passed, this $1.4 trillion, right? You and I aren't going to pay it. Our kids are going to have to pay it, and their kids' kids are going to have to pay it. Not only are they going to pay it through taxes, but inflation on top of it, right? Okay, so in theory, you would say, okay, 1.9 trillion is strictly for the virus. That's a good job. Let's do this. Let's start working on mental health due to the COVID virus, right? Let's use some of this money and help small businesses get their startup going, right? Okay, that would make sense. Let's start, doing more scientific research in case there's an adaptation to COVID. That would make sense. All this money that you can put in other funding, right? Where is the money going? Over freaking seas. Look it up. I'm not going to do the research for you. You literally look in that bill. Not only is it a 45-page bill, okay, for a COVID virus, when, back in, 20 years ago, my time, I'm old, but back in my time, bills that were passed in the House were at max 5 pages. This 40 to 50-page freaking thing that they make you do. You have to be a lawyer just to read some of this stuff. Look through it. I would say maybe a quarter of it, and that's being generous. It's actually doing good towards the COVID virus. At least a quarter of it, if not less. Okay? Most of it is going overseas. They're paying back. They striked it, thank God. But in the actual COVID bill, there was some money for freaking Nancy Pelosi's district in San Francisco for subways. Why? This has nothing to do with that. It's in, and the Democrats kept in, or I shouldn't even say Democrats, because again, I want to separate liberals from Democrats. Let's just say the liberals, okay? The liberals, there's money going to New York and California. The two hardest hit with the COVID pandemic. And why is the reason why they were the hardest hit? Let's look at it. First off, not to mention the fact they were both Democratic run, not only governors and mayors. Let's not mention the fact that Gavin Newsom, or that's soon to be recalled, is actually Pelosi's, I think he's cousin or nephew. Okay, let's not even go there. Because they mishandled that. They mishandled the funds due to that. We're bailing them out with this funds. Look it up, guys. We're actually giving them money because they screwed up on their end. So we're fronting the bill for their mistakes because of their I didn't even know how to say it, tyrannical rule, so to speak. We're giving money to them, right? So let me include the rest of this. Democrats include $3.5 billion in massive COVID bill for the global fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. So you know dang well this was an old bill that never got passed. That finally was like, oh, we'll just throw this into the COVID bill and it'll pass because they had both House and Senate, which is exactly what they did. But here's the kicker of it all. Guess where the fund is connected to? I'll give you a minute to ponder. Bill Gates. Dun, 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 dun. Payback. Moving on. After having held zero press conferences since taking office, zero, Biden shuffles away and ignores questions about when he will hold a presser. They got him in a hardware store. He was supposedly trying to talk, and then they got distracted by a hammer in the front row. As soon as his little speech was done on the 15-foot teleprompter, he starts shuffling away. The reporters are asking him questions about the border crisis. Right? Ignores it. His basically his PR team was like, get away, don't ask questions, moving on, moving on. The guy has not held a presser yet. Now, supposedly, I think it was tonight. Of course, I didn't watch it. I'm sure many Americans did not, but he was going to hold a 20-minute, 15-minute presser on the COVID virus. Why are they keeping it to 15, 20 minutes? And I guarantee you, now I didn't watch it, so bear with me, but I guarantee he doesn't answer any questions. Guarantee it. Again, I said in my last couple of shows, the State of a Union address, which is a big deal for a new inbound president, right? Normally goes 2 hours, okay? This dude hasn't been doing any press conferences, any interviews that are shorter than 15 minutes, guys, because he can't cognitively. And this isn't being mean or rude. This is legitimately a concern because the Democrats actually passed are trying to pass a bill to take away his nuclear codes or his opportunity to do so. So they're even worried about it. Okay, so this isn't just me saying this. Okay, on top of it, okay, he's got to hold this State of the Union address, which is a 2-hour speech. If you remember the last one that Trump did, Nancy Pelosi ripped it up. I wish a Republican was there and they could have ripped it up in front of Biden, but besides the point. But anyway, moving on. So that in itself, okay, is going to be an issue. I don't know how the hell they're going to pull it off. And what they're going to do, and even if they pull it off, you're going to notice a long applause like they have any president. It's not just Biden, and even Trump. When he spoke his speech, there's a freaking 18-hour applause session. Like, I think that's dumb anyway, regardless of who's president. It's just stupid. But besides the point, that's going to allow Biden to he's going to speak. There's going to be applause for 10 minutes. He's going to stop. He's going to do it. So it allows him to focus. So he might actually come across looking good. Actually, I mean, I don't know. But he's been afraid to do it. So then that's the question you have to ask yourself. Why? What is going on and to the effect of why? So basically, that's what they're saying. He's had zero press conferences so far since taking office. We are now in the third month of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think any president since we're going before Carter really has had a State of the Union address by the end of February. So I don't know. I have it in my notes on my page. Further back on there in the folder, it shows you the dates and times of Clinton to Bush to everybody, and Biden hasn't done it. Why? That's the only question I have there. Moving on. Biden administration wrong on COVID-19 vaccination, the Associated Press says. For an administration, and this is reading straight out of the AP sources, for an administration that prides itself on talking straight about the pandemic, the self-congratulation Wednesday went too far. President Joe Biden wrongly claimed the U.S. vaccinated a record 2.9 million people on Saturday, while his special advisor on the pandemic basically disputed that. So you have someone in his own party that's disputing what he says. Guys, it's not being mean. He's just not there, guys. He's literally, you can look at all the clips from his press conferences. Here's the sad part, though. First of, I actually blame his wife for putting him out there and just letting him go. I mean, that's just screwed up in general, just ethically. But besides the point, it's coming soon. The 25th Amendment, Pelosi sitting there rubbing her hands together. It's coming soon. They're not. He's massively cognitively declining by the. I'll be nice, by the week. Okay, so what's the worst option? You're gonna get Kamala, guys. It's coming. They're already prepping the 25th Amendment. It's happening. So the sad thing is, it's going to be even scarier. Scarier. And please do not tell me that she's some choir child, because she is not, by any stretch of the imagination. Moving on. Breaking. Minnesota court reinstates a third-degree murder charges against officer, I think his name is Chauvin, as a second-degree murder case implodes. The reason why it's imploding is because when the pathology test was done, and this has been all news forever now, right? He had a lethal dose of fentanyl in his bloodstream. So this is already known. So he was going to die based on his dosage of I can't even say the word. Sorry, fentanyl, whatever. I said it right the first time. But besides the point, he was already gonna die. So whether he would have just, if it wouldn't have been the chokehold that this guy did, or if they locked him up in the cruiser, he could have died in the cruiser because there was so much of it in his body and his bloodstream. He was going to die. Now, that was one of the narratives that the left used to do the whole BLM riots in the summertime, as you know, right? Just saying. So now, going forward now obviously it's out of the news cycle, whatnot. Only 36% polled believe George Floyd died from that policeman's actions. So I would say a big uh-oh, they're losing their narrative gun yet again. Again, they're going to lose the narrative. They lost it on the Capitol riots, which is now coming to pass through multiple sources on their own investigation that it wasn't uh, uh, conspired and done through Trump supporters. You obviously had the guy from BLM, one of the leaders of BLM and Antifa, arrested for it and then did video of it in the hall filming it and then made money on it and is now making a book on it. Okay? So again, they're distracting away from the truth and people are sucking this up. People wake up. Sir, just wake up. I don't even care what side of the fence you're on. Just wake up. Seriously, wake up. Joe Biden signed an executive order this week. That's what his 70th. That makes okay, as a former vet, this pisses me off. I'm just going to tell you right now. Signed an executive order this week that makes transgender surgery free for the military. From now on, us as U.S. taxpayers will pay for medical procedures and surgery for transgender candidates. This operation is not cheap and can add up to $200,000 per patient. No doubt, this will drive more trans men and women into the military. Ultimately, it's not clear how this helps the military, but whatever. I honestly don't even know where to go with this. I don't even know if I could be angrier. I don't even know where this, this is bad. Like, not only is this bad, guys, I mean, okay. We are the only country doing this. Unless you count Germany in the 1988 or 1980 Olympics with their massive, and the Russians with their massive hockey team, okay? With steroids and whatnot. No other country is going to have transgender military people. No other country. You know what's going to happen? You're going to get these transgender people. And remember, it's hormone therapy, guys. So if you're converting, and I'm not a scientist, but if you're converting a male to a female, you have to give them hormones, basically, right? So that has an effect on the person's DNA or their body chemistry, right? So if you're going through that process or have recently passed that process, do you think that might, I don't know, be a negative in a war situation? I do, because I've been in war. I know what it takes. The sad and the scary thing of this the most is not only have we self-entitled our kids to the point of that's why they've been rioting, because it wasn't like old people in the streets doing it, okay, number one. Number two, now you're having these self-entitled people go in the military. The military was to be designed to defend our nation, right? From foreign or domestic enemies, okay? The enemies don't care. I'm sorry to say. So they don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, transgender. They're going to shoot you. And they don't care. They're not going to give you a timeout like they're doing in boot camp now. They're not going to let you have a moment. They're going to kill you. There is people, the easiest way I can sum this up, because I've been there, I know. There is evil people in the world, regardless of how you slice it. Just because we do whatever we do on our end does not mean that they're going to. They don't play by the rules, people. Just an FYI, and it's very concerning, and I hope everyone at least looks at that and goes, holy crap, because I would. Moving on. Conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with them, this week filed a Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA, lawsuit against the Department of Defense for records a Speaker, she doesn't even deserve the title, Pelosi's January 8th call with the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. Now, the Wall Street Journal, okay, this isn't conservative 101 here, just saying. The Wall Street Journal editorial board suggested it was a coup. Pelosi admitted she spoke to Mark Milley in a letter to her Democratic colleagues. Quote, this morning, I spoke to the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, to discuss available precautions for preventing an unstable president from initiating military hostiles or accessing the launch codes and ordering a nuclear strike. 25th Amendment coming soon to a theater near you. This is about Biden. The situation, this is unhinged. President could not be more dangerous, and we must do everything that we can to protect the American people from unbalanced assault on our country and democracy. Excuse me, this wasn't about Biden. This was about Trump. Pardon me. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court from the District of Columbia after the Department of Defense failed to respond to a January 11, 2021 Freedom of Information request for any and all records regarding, concerning, or related to the telephone call between Speaker Pelosi and the General Mark Milley on or about January 8th, 2021. This is before the insurrection. This request includes, but not limited to, all transcripts, okay, blah, 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 basically all the details of the call. In a section in a section of the letterhead headed, quote, removing the president from office. Pelosi also told her colleagues, as you know, there's growing momentum around the invocation of the 25th Amendment, which allows the vice president and the majority of the cabinet to remove the president for his incitement of an insurrection and the danger he still poses. Read up what insurrection means, guys. You have to have firearms. You have to have weaponry. Just saying. There was none. The cop, you remember, the cop is the one that shot the protester. Yesterday, Leader Schumer, there's another genius, and I placed a call with Vice President Pence, and we still hope to hear from him as soon as possible with a positive answer as to whether he and the cabinet will honor their oath to the Constitution of American people. Guys, this was before his speech, Trump's speech. This was when they started letting the people in before the speech got concluded. It's all video, so check it, okay? They let them in, okay? This was spoken before this happened. They were already talking about trying to get rid of him, and this is the reasons why, because of it, right? Already there. If Speaker Pelosi's description of her conversation with General Milley is true, it sends a dangerous precedent that could undermine the president's role as commander-in-chief and separation of powers. Our new lawsuit aims to uncover the truth about it. So they were already planning this, guys, ahead of time. This is a coup. It was a coup. Some would say it's still a coup, but besides that, this is facts. There's no dispute about that. It's literally right there for anyone's viewership. Please read it and understand it. Madness at the border. Okay, this is getting bad. Twofold on this, on the border, the crisis at the border, which is truly a crisis. You may have hated Trump, but at least he handled the border, guys. Period. But besides the point, right? Just recently, Biden's, I don't know if it was Biden specifically, but his staff or whoever it was, his counsel, has warned a lot of the HSS people, Homeland Security people, and Border Patrol, to not make any comments about how much of the flow of illegals are coming in. This is happening right now. There's a gag order on them, essentially, where they can't talk about it. So they either have to get their information out through other sources, via friends, whatever the case may be right now, because there's a gag order and they're afraid to lose their jobs. Huge line of undocumented immigrants filmed flooding across the Rio Grande into Texas. A huge line of... Okay, I just read that. The video was taken on Wednesday morning. It's on my Facebook page if you want to, guys, look at it. Joe Biden opened the borders and illegals are flooding in. At the current rate, over 3 million illegal immigrants will have entered America by the end of Biden's first term. 3 million illegal immigrants. Keep in mind, and here's the important factor of all this, guys. That's the reason why there's a process and there's a wait period, right? You're having, and there's a net effect to all of us, right? First of all, with that many people coming in, whoever was in line to do it legally now gets pushed back because now all the courts are flooded with all these new cases to see through first before they get back to the other people, which is wrong in the first place because the people that do it legally should have a right to be able to come in the United States of America. I don't think anyone should dispute this. I mean, I don't know why you would, but besides the point, they get pushed back in line. Okay, it's like being in line at Disneyland. You waited an hour and a half in line to go on this ride, right? You now have 3 million people come and cut right in front of you. Would you be pissed? I know I would. The problem with this is not only is that happening, then, okay, they got on Trump about building these cages, which actually, if you go look at Biden and Obama's era, they built the cages. Just saying. But besides that, moving on. They claim that, right? What's happening now is because there's so many people coming in now, and Biden, what they're trying to do is they're trying to bust these illegals to different states across the border, so that way it doesn't look like a huge cumulative number, right? But guess who's paying for all that? The busing, the food, the medical care, all that. We are. Our tax dollars are, right? Meanwhile, you got homeless veterans in the street. You got homeless in general in the streets that aren't getting taken care of. Or what about people that lost their jobs due to COVID? They should be getting taken care of first before we even go this route. Secondarily, if COVID was so important, right, and the spread, stopping the spread of it was so important like they say they would, these people that are flooding in right now, right, have never been tested. They can't prove that they've been tested. They're coming in with not only COVID, but all kinds of diseases, right? They're letting them in. They're not even going through. They can only. It's like trying to stop a dam that's broken, right? They can only stop so much of the flow, right? So the people that they stop in the flow, they're getting vaccinated. They're doing what they got to do. Blah blah blah. The rest of them are just coming into our country. So not only are they bringing the COVID virus, God knows they can bring whatever else. The plague, Ebola. Who the frick knows? And we have nothing. We can't stop them. This is happening. This is actually happening. They're trying to suppress this, but it's actually happening, guys. And we're paying for it. And then they're putting them in these sanctuary cities, which is like Tent City that Maricopa Sheriff Joe did back in the day. They're building these cities out of our tax dollars to fund these people to stay there. Why? Send them back. And these aren't people coming from Mexico, though, guys. These are people coming, and if they are, well, I mean, you may have one or two that's legit, but you may also have a huge amount that aren't. I mean, the law of average, right? So not only do you have that, you have people from South America, you have from other countries that are flooding in. Pretty soon we're going to be at a tipping point, guys, because again, it all affects the supply chain, right? When you have this many people coming in that you're not prepared for, it also affects farmers. It affects the grow rate of crops. So any food that we would have stored for maybe like a pandemic, hello, or like a natural disaster, or even if you know we could be subject to famine, because we ran out. You know we have more need than supply, or more demand than supply. So this is a huge problem. The farmers aren't going to be able to keep up. This is great. This is going to be a huge crisis within the next 2 years. And we're going to start seeing the negative effects like we saw the gas pipeline happen and our 401ks. This is happening. This may seem like a great idea at first, but it's not. There's a reason why the processes were put in place by previous administrations. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. Moving on. Okay, this is stupid. I'm just going to tell you straight out. Manhattan private school encourages students to stop using words like mom and dad. This is from the New York Post, okay? Let me read that again. Manhattan private schools encourage students to stop using words like mom and dad and to be more inclusive, okay? Manhattan private school aiming to use more inclusive language is encouraging its students to stop using the terms mom and dad and parents because the words make assumptions about the kids' homes' lives. I need a minute here because I really want to go off and I'm just trying not to. So, why don't these people that think up this stupid shit Um, I don't know. Invent a cure for cancer. Um, invent a new process of distributing food. Um, invent something. The pet rock. Bring it back. I don't care. Why is this stupid shit happening? The Grace Church School in NoHo, I don't know what it is, which offers academic courses for junior kindergarten through 12th grade, issued a 12-page guide to students and staff explaining the school's mission of inclusivity. The detailed guide recommends using the terms grown-ups, folks, family, or guardians as alternatives to mom, dad, and parents. It also suggests using caregiver instead of nanny or babysitter. Why can't we just... The document also states how to use appropriate terms relating to gender, sexual orientation, race, and ethnicity. Instead of asking a person, what are you? Where are you from? The query should be, what is your cultural, ethnic background? Oh, I can just imagine a kindergartner asking that. Where are your ancestors? Where are they from? I don't know what to say, guys. I, I don't know. I don't even know what this is becoming. This is bad. This is what happens when you bring in a two-time failed presidential candidate and his brethren into office. It's not even a political issue. This is just a stupidity issue. Period. Where are you from and where's your ancestors from? I mean, it's so bad you just have to laugh because it's stupid. Moving on. Representative Guy Reschenleiter, I don't know what his name is, to Newsmax TV. Biden's 1.9 trillion buys economic stagnation, which is true. Uh, Joe Biden's 1.9 spending package was sold as an American rescue plan for coronavirus relief. That's the part of the problem right there. We were lied to because we're telling everybody it's a coronavirus relief, but it's not. You know what they're going to end up having to do? They're not okay. So the money's got to come from somewhere to pay this bill, right? Here's the thing. Yes, they can start taxing our children. That's true. And inflation. That's true. But they can't for the initial stuff. In other words, the stuff that's got to go out right away, like our money to our checks, to as we're sending money overseas. That's all going to be paid up kind of up front. So what they're going to start doing and what you're going to start seeing is a raise of taxes. You're going to start seeing it incrementally raise just as the gas prices are incrementally raising. And this tells you where we're going soon. I'm just saying, look at it. It's literally right there. I mean, you can literally look at it. I don't have to tell you anything. Just look at it. So moving on. Last but not least, this is a meme that I saw on Facebook. And I thought it was hilarious. And it's so true what's going on right now. It really shows the liberal hypocrisy. Again, when I say liberal hypocrisy or liberals or far left, it is not the moderates. Let me be clear on this. Okay? So basically it says Republican, abortion is wrong. Liberal, my body, my choice. Liberal, you can't be in here without a mask on. Republican, my body, my choice. Liberal, but you can kill an innocent person. I'll leave that right there. Final thoughts. I'm going to use that as my final thoughts because that was pretty funny. I thought it was very, very indicative of what's happening right now. But I thought that was funny. But moving on. So, one of the thoughts I had about the show, I guess it is final thoughts, sorry, is as a society, right? We all know. I mean, we can all see it. It's not rocket science, nor is it. We see it in front of us daily. We, as Generation X, or maybe the generation above me, I'm Generation X, wanted to teach our kids right for wrong, all that stuff, but we wanted to do it in a less capacity than our parents did. We wanted to be different than our parents, right? But it has had a negative effect to this. The lack of discipline, the lack of God, the lack of family has really affected society as a whole. Even more so to the fact of now the kids that we've created are now going to fund another generation of more self entitlement, more. I want everything now. Instant gratification is the word I was looking for. Um, where no one wants to work for anything. You see it now. If you're in a business solution somewhere or working somewhere, you see it. You see how the young kids act. I mean, it's right in front of us, guys. We're really partly to blame for it, but we're also letting society dictate that for them too. So what scares me the most is not only are you going to have the military in that self entitlement stage, you're also going to have the cops and police force in that self entitlement stage. They don't blame themselves. They don't look in the mirror and say, "Oh, you know what, man, my bad. I messed up." It's always pointing the finger and turning it and saying, "You did it. You did it. Not me. You did it. You did it." It's happening, guys. It's not only happening now, it's happening in politics, right? There's no accountability. So therefore, there's no need. They can just turn it around, spin it, and just say, "No, it's on you." It's very scary, and to be honest with you, it's happening, and it's going to continue to happen. And we're not going to be able. The momentum has shifted. We're not going to be able to change it anymore. It's done. So that's just my thoughts. Any questions? Get in touch with me after the show or leave commentary, intel, etc. Research via my email at saltysailor@saltysailornation.com. Again, that's saltysailornation.com. Please like and share or subscribe to my show via Facebook. I'm on Parler, Rumble, Freedom Fan, Telegram, Insta, YouTube. It helps me. Honestly, I got canceled from the podcast, as I probably shared a bunch of times before. The big guy always eats the little guy, so to speak. I'm the little guy. Please help me spread the word. Again, I'm trying not to be biased, guys, but a lot of this you have to be in some sense, especially the way the news media is portraying things. And this is not hyperpool. This is not conspiracy theories. This is the truth, guys. I mean, it's the truth. That's why there's conservative sites out there. That's why Facebook. That's why Twitter is losing money at a rapid rate. Because here's the one thing with going with the liberal policies about being woke. Okay, guess who runs? I don't know, the economy. Baby boomers, Gen Xers. So the people that are spending money probably fall in line or attached to the economy as a whole, right? So if the economy takes a tank, who do you think those people are going to side with? Nike learned it the hard way. It was one of my projects in my work. Nike learned the hard way. They decided to follow Colin Kaepernick, and look what that got them. Not only did they have to lay off over 1,000 people, but they lost almost $1 billion based on one decision to back a candidate that was for the woke crowd. There should be a bumper sticker that says "Woke don't pay." Just saying. In conclusion, wow, still doesn't work. Anyway, in conclusion, this show is dedicated to all the first responders and essential employees. Y'all deserve a shout out. To all my brothers and sisters in the armed forces, both here and abroad, both past and present, stay frosty. Thank you, Salty Dogs, for listening. Keep the faith, Salty Dogs, and hold the line. The Salty Sailor. Peace out.